Hello, I'm Letitia Sharp. This is speech 1315, Persuasive Speech. The title of my speech is Video Gaming, Pros and Cons. Well, I'll start now. There are pros and cons to youth video gaming. In some areas, I can agree and disagree with video gaming, but my opinion in a whole has to be in agreement with video games. I think that there are more positive possibilities than negative. The reason I feel stronger toward video games being more positive than negative is because in a technology-driven age, children are spending more and more time on the internet in today's society than ever before. In the classroom and at home, the majority of what our youth are learning comes from either television or the internet. In these categories, video games have more suggestive power over our youth than we, the parents, may have ourselves. I can concur with this acclamation in full. The reason parents view video games in a negative form is because youth is distracted by video games. The distractions come into play, whereas the youth is spending their time playing video games, surfing the internet, or watching television rather than conducting their regular studying and developmental workshops at home. Point 3. Children are neglecting nature by not going to find entertainment in all the amenities and activities outdoor has to offer. I can personally have children and they indeed I personally have children and they indeed abuse their video games and other pleasurable devices. They especially favor the games that employ the most gruesome and violent features on the video games. Games such as Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty, and Mass Effect constitute some very horrible fighting, gore, and bloody scenes. Here's why video games have been viewed as negative, violent, and time-consuming in our youth are the games that I just named. Video games may possibly sometimes have negative effects on their upbringing, mental, and educational disposition. The video games indulge fantasy and unrealistic scenarios, but in the mind of a child, they have the capability of viewing the games as reality or actual events, thus inducing emotions that cause the children to act out the scenarios they have seen on the games. My argument in the video games having the capability of employing positive effects rather than all negative is still yet to come to this conversation. Now, parents may inquire and speculate as to why I continue to allow my children to play the video games I've mentioned. The answer is simple. Anytime a child has access to a computer, television, or video game, there is a function key in almost all settings on any device that has the parental control feature. This feature allows the parent to monitor the level of gore and blood and violence if, not on all the games, if they can show any, the maturity level of violence, and the lock for the game, or, the areas of the video game, which, the one that we don't want our children to explore. Implementing these actions to any game or computer gives the parent full control over their child and what they view and play. I control what my child plays and how they see it while they're playing it. There is no way for the child to change these settings because I make sure I use passwords that my children are not accessible to and will never figure out. Then too, I have trained my children not to attempt to figure out my passwords. Parents, we do not have to be overprotective and disapproving of our children playing video games, internet, or watching television because we have the full control over how our children conduct their time doing so. In conclusion, if any other concerns arise over video game time, we the parents have the power to set time limits for our children, to how they play the games, how long they play, how long they watch television, and how long that they continue to do these things. So if my children intend on spending their allotted time for entertainment on video games rather than studying, then okay, that's perfectly fine by me. Video games can definitely have their advantages. As a parent, it is a great motivator for the child to conduct their daily chores, if they have any, and also a positive behavior enforcement that does not involve physical discipline or verbal discipline. If I take away their enjoyment, my children tend to behave more positively and effectively when threatened to remove their video game privileges. This gives the parent leverage in the household as well. As a bonus in my household, I purchase educational games just in case my children tend to spend extra time on video games and less time on studying. We can't have this. So, thank you.